join us when they get here. So, Ian, everything okay? So I'd like to call the meeting to order. And the first order of business is to review the minutes. And I hope everyone got a chance to look at the minutes. Does anyone have any comments, corrections, changes, additions?
Move to approve.
Yes. Could you turn the...
Speak in your mic.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, opposed? Okay, then the minutes have been approved. At this point, is there any public comment? Okay.
Hi, Laura Luker, Ward 4, also part of Birdtown, Radnor Birdtown, and also part of Radnor Conservancy. And I just thought I'm not on the agenda, so I'm taking this time just to say hi and give you guys just a minor update and some reminders of things, just to let you know. Birdtown, PA had their spring annual meeting, and I would like to share that with you via an email that you can then send to your committee to kind of see what they're talking about and what's going on throughout the 51 other townships that are bird towns, EAC bird towns, and also let you know that we had a table at the Willows Park Preserve during their wellness, and we saw some interesting people come through and interested in what's going on, and we're putting together lots of programs that are bird related, habitat related, that kind of cross over with the Conservancy, and that's something to check out the Conservancy's website so you can see. The other thing I wanted to let you know about the Conservancy is that our executive director, Gretchen Grobel, is leaving. She has decided to just change, a life change of things, and we are advertising for a new part-time position. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the We Conserve, I'm not sure organization, if you're familiar with it, has a whole EAC drop down. And if you guys are not, know about that, I would recommend you checking that out. I can send that link to you. I know you know it, Margie, but it's got a lot of really wonderful information on it as well. And then lastly, I just wanted to make a little nudge to put on the website of the township. I know Birdtown's on there, but there could be a, more of a influence on there. And also, I know that it's being reworked, but I want to nudge that reworking as well. So thank you, and I'm just going to kind of
Thank you. Yeah,
what's going on today.
We had a meeting, about all the updating the website, and I sent lots of information and so forth, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right,
But
great.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, then we have a few announcements. They're just regarding the yard program, which we'll talk about later, but there was a bulletin. I think Melissa sent me that info, or maybe, I'm not sure who did. A bulletin on the eco-friendly yard program was sent out to over 3,000 recipients on April 20th. So a lot of people know about this yard program. So that was sent out. The second announcement is the Delaware County Sustainability Conference will be held on June 8th, which is a Tuesday, I believe. And I'm going to briefly read you the description here. It's free of charge. It's the second annual Delaware County Sustainability Conference. Oh, no, it's Wednesday. Oh, no, I think it is Tuesday, at Widener. Yes, it's at Widener. It's free. They will be serving vegan food, yay, and zero waste, and accessible by public transit. So the keynote speaker will be Justin Harris of the National Wildlife Federation, and the time is 8 to 4:30. So I know it's during a weekday when people have to work, but it is free, and if anyone is able to attend that, it would be great. I signed up for it, but I have something else that day which I'm attempting to change, but I don't know if I can yet. So yeah, if you're interested, let me know, and I'll send you the information. Okay. Are you interested, Dan?
Yeah, I gotta check my schedule.
Okay. Anyone else?
What was the date you said, Margie?
June 8th.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a Thursday.
Oh, it's a Thursday, okay. I have trouble with my dates, don't I? Yeah, I knew it was during the week, though, so it makes it difficult for anybody. You essentially have to take a day off, or you could take a vacation day if that's your idea of a little vacation. Yeah, so anyway, I'll run it by you all in May again, but yeah. Another announcement is, which I'll bring up again as well. So far, there have been 5 residents who have applied for the eco-friendly yard program. Does anyone else have an announcement? Okay. So then we'll move to our presentation by the Willistown Conservation Trust, and Lauren McGrath, who is the director of the Willistown Conservation Trust Watershed Program, will present this. This is a sort of a invitation for us to work with her, with them, yes.
Great, thank you so much, and thank you for having me today. My name's Lauren McGrath, and I'm here as a representative of Willistown Conservation Trust. But I'm excited to share about the Darby Creek Community Science Monitoring Program, which is actually a partnered project with a number of different collaborators. So we have been working with the Darby Creek Valley Watershed Association and supported by Stroud Water Research Center since 2021 to collect water chemistry data throughout the Darby Creek watershed. So the monitoring program kicked off in 2021 with just 2 volunteers up in the headwaters over here at Paper Mill, on Paper Mill Road, and at the Upper Mainline YMCA were our first 2 sites. And since then, we have now over 30 volunteers who've been trained on our sampling protocols. And what we do is we go out every 4 weeks to their assigned sites, and they collect water temperature, conductivity, chloride, and pH data. So these are all really important water chemistry data points because they tell us a little bit about what's happening in the watershed. So chlorides are an indicator usually of road salt application on the landscape. And conductivity is a non-specific contaminant indicator. So conductivity just measures the ability of water to send an electric current over a set distance. So pure water is a really poor conductor, but as the universal solvent, it starts dissolving things on the landscape, and as you add more and more, that conductivity rises. So it's great to kind of give us a general idea if something is amiss in the watershed. So on the map, this is our most recent map with all of our water chemistry sampling locations, which is pretty exciting. In just a couple years, this project has blossomed into a bit of a behemoth, which is always a good thing as a data scientist to see. So I figured we would just highlight the Radnor Township sites that we have been monitoring. So we have 3 locations, and actually on this property, just across the street by the skate park, is one of our locations that has been monitored since, I think, September of 2021. And so we are looking very consciously at the headwaters because, as everyone knows, all of the issues downstream start upstream. And Radnor is in a really beautiful position in the watershed as a guardian of the headwaters of the Darby Creek. And you've got some really excellent headwater systems up here, which is really fantastic. So here's a bit more of a zoomed in location. We use everything is coded DC something, so for Darby Creek. And so we have been in conversation with Bill White about maybe putting some more sampling locations here in the municipality, because as you can see on the map, there's a lot of Darby Creek within your municipal borders, and lots of really lovely little tributaries. So one of the exciting things that we did last November was a snapshot. So we went out with 4 volunteers to 19 previously undocumented sample locations and collected all of the data at once over the course of 2 hours and then analyzed it together at the Upper Mainline YMCA. So you can see on the map there are a bunch of different colored dots at all of our sample locations. So the color and size both indicate different things. The darker the color, the higher the chloride concentration. We have a site at DCBR1, which is very, very dark. It was 230 milligrams per liter, which is a very concerning number. 220 is about when you can taste salt in the water. And so this was very surprising to us because it was November, so no road salt had been applied since the previous winter. So that was a site that we were concerned about. It drains below the origin of that waterway is right on the other side of Route 30 by a septic station. So we think that's probably a historic contaminant issue. But the size of the spot is how much impervious surface is on the landscape. So an impervious surface is any surface that's hardened that water can't pass through. So when there's a rain event, rather than settling into the ground and joining the groundwater, it runs off the surface and becomes stormwater, carrying whatever's on the landscape into the nearest water body. So we see that DCBR1 site is really big, which means there's a lot of impervious surface in that area. So this is just a little highlight, but what we were really excited by is that there are a couple of sites, DCAR1, DCWR1, and DCSR2, and these are sites that are within Radnor Township. And you'll see all of the spots are very small and very lightly colored, which means there's not a lot of salt contamination. There were our 3 best sites. And there's not a lot of impervious surface there because that land has been kept from development. We sampled at public parks, which is really, really exciting. And I wanted to share some of this information with you because as the EAC, I know that you have been working hard to both elevate the importance of water quality to your within your municipality, and then just hearing a little bit about the Sustainable Yard Program. Like, these are all wonderful things that have been definitely assisting with our waterways staying healthy and clean. Are there any questions about this? I know it's a bit of a data dump a little late in the day.
I've noticed when it does snow, around Radnor, they're putting down brine, salt brine. Now, I would think that's less salt per surface area unit than rock salt. Anyone comment on that? Okay. The hope is,
Well, the one thing I know, I don't know about brine, but I know that, in fact, I had brought this up once, long time ago, I think before I was chair, that there's a lot of rock salt put on township sidewalks.
Right.
And the one is right by a park with the creek going through. And at the time, I was a member of I can't remember the name of it. It was a person's name, water testing club or whatever. Anyway, I tested the water, and it was above the highest point on the scale. It was off the scale. And still, 2 or 3 years later, the grass is still dead along that sidewalk.
Was it the
So I
Isaac-
think the brine is a little better, but the rock salt on some of the sidewalks is really bad.
Was it the Isaac Walton League of
Yes,
America?
that was it, yeah.
Yeah, their Salt Watch program is so cool. And so helpful because it helps us to see, you know,
Right.
salt is kind of one of those ubiquitous issues where we want to keep everybody safe and we want to make sure that travel is, you know, maintained during snowstorms, but it's also really, really hurting our ecosystem. And to your point, brine is right now one of the best solutions. It is, once you have all of the equipment, it is cheaper and requires less salt per area. And the beautiful thing is it works faster than rock salt. And you don't have to worry about plows shoving everything off the road every time they come by, and then you have to reapply repeatedly. But yeah, so some of our messaging with chlorides in particular is raising awareness that you actually need very little salt to de-ice a sidewalk or a driveway. And if you put a lot out and it's still there once the ice and snow has melted, you can sweep it back up and use it again, which, you know, good for our environment and good for your wallet. So we have been trying to do outreach with in a grassroots effort to talk to folks who live in areas that get snow, who might be putting salt out on their driveways, just to become aware of it, because a lot of folks don't even realize that it is an issue.
well, calcium chloride is a more expensive but better alternative.
Yeah, it's looking better. There is some conflicting data on whether or not it's actually better for our environment, which is I won't go down that rabbit hole. We'll be here all night. But that's one of the recommendations, especially for sidewalks, because it works really quickly and you don't need very much at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saving your samples,
We
your
actually...
water samples?
So we are not, because most of our samples are taken in the stream. So they're live readings. So we go, all of our volunteers are equipped with a conductivity meter, which you just stick into the running stream. And then they have like solo cups that they use test strips to look at the pH and chlorides. So for this study, we're not saving any of the samples. However, Willistown Conservation Trust Watershed Protection Program has a study site at Waterloo Mills Preserve, and we do save our samples there on occasion. And we're looking at all of the data that the community scientists are working on, as well as dissolved oxygen and a number of other parameters that we're curious about. So we're kind of limited just in scope and storage.
Do you do any macroinvertebrate studies?
Willistown does. The community science program currently does not. But DCVA has been doing macroinvertebrate surveys at 6 sites throughout Darby Creek for over 10 years. So they have a really great legacy of data to look at. So one of the things we're really curious about is comparing some of the water chemistry data that we're collecting with the insect community data. So benthic macroinvertebrates are just invertebrates that live all or part of their lives in stream systems, and they exist on a spectrum of sensitivities. So really high quality streams will have all of those really sensitive species present, and as pollution or environmental conditions degrade, you'll lose those sensitive species and just be left with those bulletproof biting midges, the things that no one really wants in their yard, but are the hardest to get rid of. So, cool.
Does anyone have any other, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
have one more. We've become aware of arsenic contamination from the old rail beds. Are you aware of any assays of arsenic in watershed water in this area?
To the best of my knowledge, I am unaware of anyone actively looking for arsenic. We're not actively looking for it. The assay is pretty expensive. But if anyone's going to be looking, it's going to be the Academy of Natural Sciences at Drexel University or Stroud Water Research Center. So the folks over at those two organizations might have a better answer. But yeah, the metal contaminants are a real hot topic right now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. We should stay
Oh,
in
this
touch.
isn't the whole presentation.
okay.
I just wanted to share that
Oh,
there's a
okay.
website. So if you did want to take a deep dive into the data that we have been collecting, all of the information is available now online because this is community collected data that should belong to the community. So we are working, I'm not a web developer, so the website's a little clunky and I apologize in advance. But everything is there and publicly accessible. So we are working on updating this on a quarterly basis so we can capture all of those seasonal changes and present them to the community or anyone who's curious. And one little thing I wanted to mention is right now this project is totally free to all of our volunteers. So I go out and I train everybody. It takes about 3 hours over 2 trainings. To learn how to become a stream ecologist and a naturalist collecting this data. And so if you have sites that you think would be a good fit, I would love to talk to you about how we can maybe coordinate more volunteers coming out. I know that Wigwam Run, which is, I think is that just upstream of the Willows, we had talked with Bill White about potentially putting a volunteer on that location. But if you have any thoughts or suggestions, I would love to hear it. We're really excited to be able to share some of this with the communities that, are caretakers for our waterways. So that's all. Thank you. Oh, I don't know if I was supposed to exit out of that. Sorry, Ian.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so the next agenda item, a report on Earth Day events. So we had 3 Earth Day events, and the first one was at Wayne Elementary School. We were invited to this one to have a table to let the children know a little bit about what we're doing. Jerry, I think, was the star of that show. Jerry, Ray, and I were there, and between Ray and Jerry, they had a number of activities, potting plants, so there were different plants, and the kids loved that, putting the little seed in the pot. And another one was asking them a question, and they wrote their answers, and I've saved the poster. I'm not sure I did take a picture. I could send it to all of you. And then they would write down, some of their concerns about the environment. So they were very cute and interesting, and some of them had like climate change and, regular things. Other ones were more interesting. But it was I think, a very successful event. And then if they answered the question, they could throw the bean bag through the little target, which Jerry really got them going on that one. So Yeah, any questions about that one? And then we did potting, that isn't an official event, potting for the plant giveaway, and Eugenia, and who made her husband come as well, and Carol and Gretchen and I and Phil Whitmer from Birdtown all helped do potting, so that went pretty well and quickly, so that was successful. And then the plant giveaway was on Earth Day, and Dan and Eugenia and Carol and me, and that Phil from Birdtown as well were all there. And we had a lot of people and handed out our literature, and there were a lot of questions. So I feel, and then we got a number of applications for the yard program. So I feel that was also very good. And then the third thing was, I just did this past week, I was invited to give the same presentation to the students at Hilltop Preparatory School, the same presentation that I gave to the board about the yard program. I did modify it a little for the kids. And that was excellent, and the students were very, very interested. The middle schoolers knew more about some stuff than I did, like mining of battery metals and contamination and all kinds of things. These kids are really good, and they're kind of made me hopeful for the future. So, yeah, so any of other additions, those of you who were there, would you like to say something? Eugenia or Jerry or Carol?
I think speaking on the Wayne Elementary School event, it was just a really lovely day for the Wayne Elementary community. I think, as humbly as possible, our booth was the most popular, thanks in no part to our candy giving away.
There was candy.
The kids' ability to plant little seeds in little pots, they seemed to really, really get into and enjoy. And I think they were a bit surprised when we handed them a dirt-filled cup that was leaking water, and the parents were a little overwhelmed. But it came together really, really nicely, and it was a wonderful experience, I think, for everyone involved.
I was just going to say, at the native plant giveaway, I handed out our one-pager about the eco-friendly yards, or more like forced people to take it. And we had a lot of interest. A lot of people said, oh, I've heard about this, or I want to know more, or I had questions. So it seemed incredibly popular. So hopefully.
Yeah, free is the way to go.
I had a couple people ask me if there was a list of native-friendly plants so that if they go to the local nursery, they would know what to ask for. And I wonder if we could, if that would be something worth putting together. It obviously couldn't cover all of them, but at least maybe some of the top ones.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be something we could add to the website, probably.
Yeah,
Huh? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so our next agenda item is our updates from the Green Team. Dan. Oops, I forgot to turn my thing on. Updates from the Green Team. Dan.
Thank you. Yeah, I just talked with Melissa about the status of the RFP for the municipal buildings and the energy audit, and that is still in process. So we'll look forward to its posting on PennBid and go from there. So I understand there will be specific vendors that are very aware of ecological considerations when reviewing a building's energy use. So excited about that. I just heard from Melissa that the guide that I put together for all the websites that provide information on financial incentives for energy upgrades to your building to improve efficiency and reduce energy use, as well as for installation of renewable energy. That guide was approved by Melissa, and I will get the final version to her that has some added comments from the Green Team, editorial comments. So that's, we're expecting that to be posted on the website under, I guess, the EAC green.
Yeah, hopefully
green
soon.
Radnor.
I have to check with Ian what is
Yeah,
the holdup, find out what.
okay.
You know, and I had suggested that we have the link, that a separate page then also for those. So we have it on the main website, and then you can also access it on a separate page.
Okay,
Yeah, so I think that would be good,
yeah.
yeah.
Just one more thing is, Robin Mann, member of the Green Team, asked if Radnor is considering the DVRPC managed funding of, let's see, what was it? EV charging stations in the township. I know we're working on EV charging stations, and just, Melissa, are you aware of any DVRPC?
Yes, I believe Sarah had sent me something on that, and I've reached out to the gentleman who's heading up that program. So, you know, with the board's blessing and the manager's blessing, we'll apply with partnering with DVRPC. I believe they prepared the application
Yes,
on our behalf, and we just kind of tell them where we want to put the stations.
great, great. Thank you. That's it.
Any questions for Dan? Okay, thank you. So just a very brief report on comprehensive plan meeting that I was asked to attend. There were a number of other attendees, all kind of related to some extent to the environment. And the person conducting the meeting asked for SWOT analysis, so people gave their input. And some of the things that I had mentioned was as far as like opportunities and things that we would like to see in the future. I asked that we could work more closely with the township with about areas before they are brought to the board ready for approval. And I'm referring to things like new projects, you know, new development, and things that impact the environment. You know, we've all witnessed some things that went through that really weren't very helpful. We talked about this last meeting. Then another thing was whether there could be a budget for the Environmental Advisory Council. Also, a project we'd like to see happening in Radnor is food composting program. And then I also mentioned the Adrossan Farm to have a review of that whole situation. Although to my somewhat horror, when we were asked for threats, somebody piped up and said, "Don't lose the cows." I nearly had a conniption. So I did counter that. So anyway, that's just, you know, there were a lot of people there, and it was, you know, not everybody really, I guess, said everything they could have. Yeah. Any questions about that one?
Has it gotten to the stage of talking about building codes, or is that premature? Upgrading the building codes, specifically regarding energy conservation.
That was certainly brought up, you know, at the meeting. And yeah, this was sort of like a what's wrong and then a wish list type thing.
Right.
So, you know, the overdevelopment, the codes, and a number of other issues were brought up by a number of people.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, I don't know where this will go from here. I've not had good experiences with things like this, you know, where we've spent hours and days and weeks and months on things. And I don't mean Radnor Township, but just in my past working history. And then the document is written up and it's never looked at again. So I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case here. But I have no way of knowing. This is kind of the beginning. Yeah. Yes.
Just tagging in on that, you know, I was with you at that meeting, and I'm also on the steering committee. So I sit on it, and we meet once a month. And you can, I'm sure you received the email that shows the outline. Did you get that, of the SWOT list and all what was put together?
No, I did not.
Oh, you did not?
No.
Okay. I can send you the one that is relevant to environmental resources. Because it's actually an interesting, you'd be surprised. There's definitely different opinions on what people think, you know, should be right. Like more ball fields, more cows, whatever. So I'll send that to you because that's actually really interesting to see kind of what's happening. The other thing that's going to be coming up as starting on Sunday, there will be a survey being put out for the township, for the whole township to take, and it's very comprehensive. It's actually something that will probably take you about 10 minutes to do. It's really worth your time to take it. And I agree, you know, you never know how these plans are going to go into action. The real key is just to make, you know, drill it into the commissioners, because it's on them that they take this book that all taxpayers have spent, you know, a lot of money on, and to apply the projects and goals to be taken through. That's where the problem is. It's not the committee or the book or the whatever. It's actually the people who sit on this diocese who need to actually take action from those books and live like that, but, you know, use that book as a Bible. So look forward to, you know, you guys look for the survey, and I'll send you that email with the SWOT analysis of it, because it is kind of interesting. I think you guys would like it.
Thanks, Laura. Anything else on this? Okay, so updates on the yard program. So far, we've had 5 applicants for the award. I meant to bring the flag and I forgot it to show you all. But I wanted to bring, since we have 5 now, bring this up, because originally we had said, you know, we'd have environmental scientists and this and that in the team, and I really think that's a little overkill. I think that this is an educational tool. It's not the Nobel Peace Prize, and I think that any one of us can probably, it's very subjective anyway, to look at the yard and kind of determine, well, and we have to believe the people if they say they don't use pesticides and herbicides. We're not going to doubt them. They say they don't use pesticides, herbicides. We look at the yard, if there's a lot of plantings other than grass, and trees, bushes, native perennials and so forth, that they get the flag, because the attempt is just to show others that, yes, this is a nice alternative to a turf lawn. And so I think by making this team and having to go out and evaluate, and nobody has time for anything anyway, I'd like to have, your input on this, but I'd like to have your permission that any one of us, and then I'll go through the addresses here, any one of us could evaluate them and bestow a flag.
I totally agree with that. I pretty much think if they went through the trouble of sending the email, that their address is probably perfectly fine. I won't be going in anybody's backyard.
Yeah.
So I'm totally okay with that. I don't think we need to do anything serious. I think it is just an educational tool, and you might not be able to see a lot of their yard, and I don't think we should be, walking on people's private property. But yeah, I think we should just drop it off at their house.
How many?
So far, there have been 5. There are 4 applied after the plant giveaway, and then one neighbor up my street had read about it, and when I was chatting with him and he found out who I was, he said, oh, I get one of those flags, because he had just planted his whole hillside in native trees and bushes. So I said, I kind of promised it to him, because, this is kind of just what we're doing here. It's not so much a prize as it is like I said, an educational thing. Yeah.
So I think, in my opinion, is that we should maybe, you've got the information, just contact them and set up a time and stop in and just to let them know that let them showcase I'm sure they're proud of their yard, and let them show, and maybe take a couple pictures or something, and then we could put them on the website.
I
So we
agree.
could-
That's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah,
I think engaging them is important, and we might learn something, and
Yeah.
just to drop off a flag, I'm not wild about that idea. I'd want to,
You guys just have more time than I do.
yeah.
I'm happy to be involved in that.
Okay.
job.
All
Maybe
right, so
you
I
and
think
can
we
do
will
it,
definitely
Vicky.
look at the properties, and like you said, maybe take pictures, that'd be great. And I don't know, I thought we could divide and conquer here. Does anyone live near Hardwick? Actually, I think I do. Wait, no, I don't. Anyone live near Hardwick? Okay, would you like to take that one? Okay. And I have to get you the flags, obviously. There's one West Wayne Avenue. I live near them, so I can do that one. What about I can't read my writing. Briarwick Road.
I don't know where it is, but it can't be that far. They're all in the, yeah, I don't know.
She said she doesn't know where it is, but it can't be that far. I think she's saying she'll.
Sure. But you're gonna send us the rest of the address?
I'll send you the information. I'm writing your name down, yeah. And then Highland Avenue.
I could do that,
Okay.
yeah.
And then South Devon Road, that's right down my street, so I will do that one. Okay, so I'll coordinate with you to get the flags to all of you. And yeah, Donnell, you work full-time, you're off the hook.
Thanks. I'm happy to do some of it too, but can we just find a time to all meet, or it would have been great if we had the flags today and distribute a couple to everybody, so we don't have to. Yeah, because I'm happy to do it, but we just don't want to be burning gas running them around, right?
Anything else? Okay. And then, Lisa isn't here. I hadn't heard from her, so I don't know. But she's been communicating with Melissa about pesticides in the township. And do you know if there's anything new, Melissa, with that? Not pesticides. Yeah, with pesticides, I believe.
I think she may have been communicating directly with Public Works. Right, we had gotten her the information she
Okay.
requested.
Okay, yeah, that's right. It was on the arsenic issue. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything new on there. I haven't heard. Yeah. Yes. Is this something we should hear? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay. I just want to bring up two areas of concern. Yeah, the Mill Dam or the Mill Creek Dam, that's where that swimming pool is. And then there's a big, like, pond lake-ish area. And I walked by it a few weeks ago, and it was drained. And the fish were struggling for survival. They were like jumping, trying to jump out of the thing. It was really very sad. And I guess the one good thing is there were a number of herons there. I think they were herons. And they were snatching up the fish. But so I asked Melissa about it, and who inquired, and apparently they drained the pond, the lake, to like do repairs on the swimming pool because they I guess there's pressure on the pool and they need to do that. I don't know, but I spoke with someone at the plant giveaway on Saturday, and they said it's still drained, even though they had informed the township that they were going to refill it in 2 weeks. So this is, I don't know, this is something, it is private property, but, you know, these things are concerning, and, you know, they kind of just happen without anybody knowing. So I don't know if anyone has input on this, but I just wanted to bring it up.
It's full now. It's filling. Yeah, it's filled up now? Yeah. Oh, good.
I just felt really bad for the fish struggling to, you know.
Annual event.
Well, it was the first time I saw it, so that's.
Margie, the road is the dam to that area, and that's the sort of the end point of everything that's upstream. So they do have to drain it, dredge it, et cetera, and work on the mechanics where the dam, which is the road, they can adjust how much water flows out of it if we get a really heavy rain. So that's an annual thing that they do, and it's private property.
Someone that attended the comprehensive plan brought this to my attention, and there's a plan to put trenches in Wayne, tree trenches. So it sounds like a great plan to capture excess water, and it's water regulation, and to plant trees then in these trenches. But the concern was that quite a number of the trees were not native trees, and I don't know if someone has information about this or if anyone would like to work on this and find out what's going on. Otherwise, I'll try and see if it's already a done deal or what. It's done deal that even the species? Okay. So there's another thing that we didn't know about.
I think Shade Tree, though, has been made aware of those species, and they are actively trying to see if they can change that. I don't know if they're too late, but they too did not know. Again, to what you originally started this whole conversation, this whole meeting about, is transparency of projects coming down the pipeline without vetting it. So, something, yeah.
And yeah, it kind of hit a point with me because, and I brought this up before, I think not in a meeting, but just to people, when they did that project on Morris Road, and then they replaced all the cherry trees they dug out with cherry trees, every single one, and now half of them are dying. So it's not a good idea to have a monoculture.
Margie, Shade Tree vehemently opposed that, but your commissioner and the neighbors wanted cherry trees. So the township gave in and allowed them to do a monoculture, but they were warned that it might not work.
It's
So-
not working.
Well, but, you know, that's democracy. They were their trees, and their commissioner was backing them on the monoculture.
That's what made me think of it. Okay. How about other updates and reports? Donnell, do you have anything more to say about the survey?
I was just going to ask if we needed to present it to the Board of Commissioners or if they were happy to just receive the PDF document.
So can you
survey
enlighten
results?
us there? Is that something that needs to be presented, or they're just okay to get a copy?
I can check tomorrow with the manager
Okay.
to see
I
what
mean, I'm
direction.
happy to come present it and walk through the results, but we can also just give them the PDF.
Yeah, I think when it was presented first, we said that the results were going to be presented at a board meeting, but I'll check.
Okay, thanks.
Any
Yeah,
oth-
I think it would be better too if we can find time on the calendar.
Yeah, you can just, we can just request that, and yeah, if you want to do that.
Yeah, we can just let's Melissa, let's just request to put it on.
Yeah, there's 2 meetings in May, so it would be either May 8th or May 22nd.
I think either is okay.
Okay, are there any other updates? All right, any new business? Further public comment?
Sarah Pilling, 29 Garrett Avenue, Rosemont. I wanted to report on some information that I received from a local resident who put solar panels on their roof. There were trees that were not theirs to the north of them, so the supplier could guarantee 65% of the solar needs. This person's had the solar panels for 3 years, and this is the report they just received from the solar supplier. The system produced 10,391 kilowatt hours of solar energy. The system's lifetime production helped avoid carbon emissions equivalent to 17 barrels of oil, 319 bags of garbage recycled and not landfilled, or 829 gallons of gas, or 8,249 pounds of coal not burned. The system is offsetting the same amount of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere as 9 acres of forest in 1 year. So little things make a difference. So I just thought you might like to know that.
Thank you, Sarah. Any other comments?
I will follow up on a comment with that. We did have 67 survey responses that said they were interested in using solar energy. So maybe we could do kind of like a spotlight on social media or on the website of cases like this where someone has been successful. That's just an idea if we want to have like content or newsletter maybe and feature them in the newsletter. Because folks are interested and maybe they're just not sure of the outcome or how to go about it.
Dan, Delaware County has a whole solar program.
Yep, Solarized Delco. SolarisedDelco.com. They provide guidance on how to assess your property for installation and financial resources for funding it. Also will help with permitting and inspection. And they have a dedicated installer that they recommend.
Yeah, you had that, you had passed the info out last year at the festival. And is that sort of an ongoing project still of the Green Team, or?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Solarized Delco is a separate organization from the Green Team.
Yeah, I
and
know.
Yeah, and I haven't communicated with them recently, but I presume they're a going concern given the whole national climate about renewable energy right now.
That would be also a good thing to discuss in that Delco Sustainability Conference.
Yep.
I would be happy to do a write-up and maybe Sarah can share the contact information if there's a place for it on a newsletter or on the website somewhere for like a blurb.
Yeah, we can work with Molly Gallagher on that RPIO.
Melissa, they had a big feature in the Radnor magazine, whatever that is.
Right.
Franklin Maps put out. Just
Yeah.
recently, they had a whole page.
Right.
Which everybody in the township got.
Any other comments, public comment, or from the team? Okay, were you getting up, Sarah? Oh, well, get about to leave. And the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.